Hello, welcome. My name is San. This is a reading today for Capricorn. There are no dates on my readings. I trust that when the message finds you, if it resonates, then it's yours at that time. Capricorn, I'm doing your reading with the Muse Tarot and the Light Seers Tarot, so you'll see a mix of both in your spread today. So you've got the Hierophant on the split, looking for spiritual guidance on a matter. I can see that you're very conflicted with the Five of Wands underneath that. You're in a situation that is very conflicting to your heart. But the Nine of Inspiration is at the bottom of the deck, and this is the arrival card for me. This is you arriving in the place that you want to be. But it's after a tower. You're kind of dealing with the aftermath of a tower and having a hard time kind of deciding which way to go, or which way to go ultimately. Making decisions and then second guessing yourself is kind of what it's looking like to me. Okay. According to what's on the table already. Okay, we'll get into that in a moment. First, I'm going to pull you an overall energy from the What We've Forgotten Oracle. Eternal life. So that's the tricky part. So I feel like we're dealing with something that spans lifetimes. So whatever it is that you're dealing with in this moment isn't just about this moment. That's what makes it tricky, is trying to figure out what to do in this moment about the current unfolding without necessarily taking into account the whole big picture, only because you have to deal with what's in front of you now and not deal with lifetimes of karma that have built up, perhaps. Okay, so we're starting your reading with the Two of Materials, which is already a card of indecision. It's kind of on the precipice of making a decision. I feel like you've already made your decision actually, but now you're second guessing it. The reason why I'm saying that is you have the Eight of Cups here, but you've got this Two of Pentacles with the Ace of Cups and another Two of Pentacles. You can see how this kind of this seesaw energy all around this heart matter. So it's like you make a decision and then you second guess that decision and maybe make the opposite decision, going back and forth on a matter of the heart. That is just, it's especially if it's got lifetimes or a lifetime of history. Of course, it's difficult to make a decision once and for all because you've got the Eight of Cups, which is talking about walking away. So your desire is to walk away, or you have walked away. You're in the process of walking away, but then you've got all this up in your head with the Ace of Swords, all this recalculating. It's like you can't stop thinking about this matter, and the matter seems to be about this guy, the King of Cups, which is the king that is beyond the tower, interestingly. He's the king that's been... Is that true for you? Is he the king beyond the tower, or is he the king that went through the tower moment with you? And now we're trying to decide where we stand. But I feel like you are a fiercely compassionate person that is very hopeful about outcomes. So even though you may have walked away, the reason why you walked away is kind of showing up here in the second row. But I can see why it's very conflicting for you, because we've got the Page of Materials, which talks about things that are manifesting exactly as you're desiring them to. And it's, with the roses, it's particularly in the realm of romance in this particular reading. It's talking about romance, especially because the Muse of Emotions comes up. It's like a Two of Cups, but it's way stronger, because it's got a lot of memory in it. Because I always see this elephant here. There's like an elephant in the center, with the blue form looks like an elephant, but it's a watery elephant. So it's all this psychic realm, telepathic, past life stuff that makes the connection really potent. It's back to back, meaning that your inner realms are connected and that you support each other, which is really surprising that something has turned a corner here. Because you've got the Three of Materials, which talks about a braiding together of lifestyles or life force, working together seamlessly. But then something occurs here with the Seven of Wands and the Three of Voices, which is I want to say an outside influence that is pushed you apart, and you dealing with the heartbreak of that. It's like there was a braiding that occurred, but then it was undone somehow. It could actually be something like, well, it could be something like the twin flame journey, when you start out in this kind of honeymoon phase where everything is beautiful and all aligned and everything makes sense. Everything is going swimmingly. But then I almost want to say that this could be even like a download that happens. A download that comes in for the two of you that it could have to do with this eternal life. And that's too much for the King of Cups, perhaps. Or it could be an outside factor. It doesn't feel like it has to do with the two of you and your heart connection. It feels more like it has to do with something from the outside interfering and coming in between and separating you. It could be something like just life matters, like something coming in that is pulling them away from you in their outer world. It could have to do with custody battles, career choices, where they are forced to be away from you for some reason that is not able to be overcome at this moment. And so you're dealing with this heartbreak energy. But at the same time, I feel like this isn't so immediate. You're kind of in the aftermath of this. This isn't a current tower. This is the aftermath of the tower, where you're cleaning it all up and you're trying to heal. But in that healing, it's like you've already walked away. The walked away could have been even 8 months ago, 8 weeks ago, maybe 8 days ago, but it doesn't feel that fresh. It feels like some time has gone by, because you've got the Four of Cups here, and it feels like this is where you're sitting now, where you're kind of bummed out and a bit bored about the fact that nothing is happening in this regard. Nothing is happening in the outside world. It's all happening in this inner realm, which has got you very confused about. It's basically like the outside world is showing you this, where there's just a blockage, there's a separation for whatever reason. It feels like some outside factor came in between, some interference came in between. It could be a third party, but I'm not feeling that. It feels more like it's career related or past relationship related, like something to do with having to move to be near children, something like that, where it's just out of your hands, out of their hands. So a separation was implemented, because it feels like distance, like they've moved at a distance, or they've just become very distant because of whatever has occurred. But it also could be this download thing. Sometimes when people first get together, especially when the bond is this kind of internal back-to-back telepathic connection, and there's a kind of a braiding that happens, sometimes downloads will come in, especially if it's tied to this eternal life, because the eternal life is the overall energy. It's like when you connect with each other, all of that eternal life information starts to come in very powerfully. And sometimes not everybody can handle that. It becomes too much, or they get kind of fried if they're not prepared for it. I'm surprised that he wouldn't be prepared for it, though. He looks like he's in control of himself spiritually and emotionally. But whatever this is kind of knocked the socks off of him and you, and separated you. And it feels like it's beyond your choice, at least. It may be within their realm of choice, but it's not within your realm of choice. They're choosing to bow out, basically. And that's gut-wrenching to you, because it's like everything was beautiful, 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 and then boom, something happened. That's the tower. When the tower comes, it's unforeseen. And so you, like I said, you've gotten to this place now where you've walked away, and you're trying to be content with that. You're trying to adjust to that, but at the same time, you can't let go of this wish or this desire. You can't let go of it. It's like it's kind of like when something bad happens and you loop through it over and over in your mind, or even when something good happens and you can't let it go, you just keep thinking about it. So it's spiraling through your consciousness over and over, even though some time has passed. It's like you're eternally hopeful that things could come back together with him. But there's also another matter here that is kind of challenging, is that you're in this healing phase. I feel like you've been there for some time with the Four of Cups and the Four of Swords, kind of making the best of it, making the best of the situation because there's nothing you can do about it. And so you are taking the healthy path and trying to deal with it as on the highest timeline possible. But the thing is that every time you get to the point where you're feeling okay, like she's looking like, despite all of the sword energy and the cramped quarters, is she still looks comfortable, even though she's very deliberately positioned herself around those swords. You see what I'm saying? It's like you're very deliberately positioning yourself in a way that can lead to the most comfort as possible. She is slightly smiling. So the interesting thing is like every time you get to a place where you're okay within yourself and you're kind of moving on, it feels like the spiraling begins again, and the Ten of Cups comes in, and this is feeling like a dream. It's like you're constantly having dreams about them, but it only comes when you are okay, which can be very conflicting, because it's like you get to a place where you're feeling steadier, you're feeling healthier, and then all of a sudden you start dreaming about them. It's like you're dreaming about the memories or the reminiscence. It's like it's looping through. But I've noticed when I separated from my main relationship in my lifetime, I did not want to be with him. And I wasn't sad about it. I was mad about it. And for a long time, I was still dreaming about him. That's kind of what I'm seeing for you, is like for a long time, you're still dreaming. And the dreaming is kind of what's keeping you in this, should I or shouldn't I? Should I contact them, or should I move on, or should I? It's just a back and forth, a teeter-totter that you can never kind of get off of, because the dreams continue. And the dreams, you're questioning maybe whether they are divine guidance, whether it's your intuition, whether it's a sign. But what I've kind of felt when I was in that situation, but it could be because of the particulars of my situation. I don't know the particulars of yours. I just know that something in the real world has gotten in the way of your connection. So especially if you feel like it's out of your hands, maybe even out of their hands, it's like you're looking for some sign from the universe to tell you that it can still work out, or it can come back together in some way, or that at least it wasn't a mistake. Trying to understand why it occurred, trying to understand how it changed so quickly. But then it seems like all of the dreams that come in are just lovely dreams about all of this when it was in this phase. You're not dreaming about the breakup or the separation. You're dreaming about this stuff as if it's still ongoing. But that kind of makes sense because of this eternal life and the divine order card underneath that. Principle of correspondence. This as above, so below. So there is a bigger story playing out here, but you have to deal with the situation that is at hand. You have to make sure that this isn't a situation where you are justifying bad behavior, and the fact that you have lovely dreams about them is an excuse to forgive them for whatever this was that caused this heartbreak. You have to be very mindful of that. So, but what I was going to say about my relationship is I've noticed it's a little bit like when you're building I don't know why I'm bringing this up. When you're building a show, like a theater show, a live concert in a venue, it takes a certain amount of time to build the show, and then it takes a certain amount of time to tear it down again or to get past it. And I feel like this applies to relationships as well. It's like, if it takes 10 hours to build a show, it will always take at least 3 hours to tear it down. There's a percentage, there's a timeline there. There's a ticker on that. So it's like the residue of the relationship follows you for a time. If you were together for a year, you may still be dreaming about them for half of a year at least. And I used to get upset because I felt like it was wasting my dream space. You could be dreaming only about them. Or like I was saying in yesterday's reading, I would shut off my connection because I didn't want to see. And then every time I would ask for guidance or open up to ask a question, that stuff would come in again. I would just dream about him. And I didn't want to, and so I would shut down. So it feels to me like all of your dreams, all of your guidance is coming in around this relationship, but it could just be because that timer hasn't ticked by far enough. But it's also because there is this divine connection, so that it's almost like there's bleed through from other lifetimes. But you have to try to stay focused in this one and be present in the circumstance that you're in now and be realistic about it. But I do feel like you're coming back into your power, but it's just that you may have, like, apply that ratio to the time ratio to the situation. If you were together for 5 years, it could take a couple of years of still dreaming, still dedicating, like a lot of your dream time is still dedicated to them. But that doesn't mean necessarily that it's meant to come back together. It just is kind of like a residue, or like it lingers with you. You're so, especially because of this braiding, it's like a soul braiding that happened, and it takes time to unbraid. So especially if this is out of your control and you're wondering why, and you can't get out of your head about it, it's like, from what I'm seeing, it has to do with that. It has to do with, it started out, or the entire relationship, however long it was, if it was a year or 5 years or a month or 5 months, it was beautiful until it wasn't. It was like this shocker, this tower moment that came in that just ended everything very abruptly. And that is kind of a shock to the system. But that part of it was so brief that it's not necessarily making it into your dreamscape. Your dreamscape is more about the majority of the time that you spent with them was in this goodness space. So I feel like the cards are saying that it's just a matter of time, especially if this is out of your hands, or you can look at it another way with this divine order, that things are in divine order and in divine timing, it will play out. I feel like that's inevitable because you have this eternal life as your overall energy. The story is bigger and broader than this current moment, but it doesn't allow you to escape the current moment. You still have to deal with what is at hand and fully heal from it. It's like I'm seeing you kind of getting stuck in this seesaw energy where you're not able to move forward, but you're also not able to go back because things are out of your control. So you're sitting here in this Four of Cups, kind of unsure what to do, not seeing a solution, and being maybe a bit confused about why you're still dreaming of them all the time. But like I said, I feel like the reason that you're dreaming about them is because you're still in that window of time after the relationship. It's like if you've been together for a year, once you get to closer to a year, you'll find that subsides. It's like you're outside it's like when there's a shadow period for an eclipse, or, there's a window of influence astrologically when things happen in the sky. It's kind of like that. It's like the event occurred on a particular date, but you're still in the window of influence. So I'm going to continue to pull cards and see what else wants to come out about this. If you're interested in that, the link is in the description box. And if not, I will see you next time, Capricorn. Thanks. Bye.